What if your wife was slowly poisoning you and you didn't even know it? My name's Mark, and a few years ago, I realized a woman I once loved, my stay-at-home wife, was slowly killing me. Not in some metaphorical heartbreak kind of way. I mean literally, one glass of iced tea at a time. We've been having problems, nothing dramatic, just the kind of quiet tension that builds over years. Arguments about money, about attention, about respect. She'd get distant, then overly sweet. You never knew which version you were coming home to. But one night, after a long fight, she came into the kitchen and said, "I don't want to argue anymore, Mark. Let's just start over." She smiled, soft, genuine, or so I thought. Then she handed me a glass of iced tea, sweet, cold, with lemon, just how I liked it. Peace offering, she said, and I believed her. After that night, she started making my evening drinks again, every single day. Iced tea, sometimes wine. She said it helped her feel like a good wife again. I wanted to believe things were getting better, but then I started feeling sick, headaches, nausea, fatigue. It felt like my body was shutting down piece by piece. When I mentioned it, she looked almost offended. "You've always had a sensitive stomach," she said. "You should probably stop eating all that junk food." So I blamed myself. Stress, bad diet, getting older, anything but her. But little things started to bother me. Sometimes I'd see her reading something on her phone and quickly lock the screen when I walked in. Once, I caught the words ethylene glycol before it disappeared. I asked her what it was. She smiled. "Just some random health article. You wouldn't get it." She was right. I didn't. Not until much later. Over the next few weeks, I got worse. My skin turned pale. My legs felt heavy. My vision blurred sometimes. One morning, I collapsed in the hallway. Next thing I knew, I was in a hospital bed. Doctors said my kidneys were failing, but they couldn't figure out why. No infection, no diabetes, no clear cause. When my wife came to visit, she looked terrified, cried at my bedside, stroked my hair, whispered, "You're gonna be fine, honey. I made you your favorite iced tea." Even in that moment, I trusted her. I drank it, but my condition didn't improve. In fact, every time she visited, I got worse. The nurses noticed. One of them, a woman named Carla, told me quietly, "It's strange. Your numbers drop after your wife's visits." I laughed it off. How could that be? It sounded insane. Then, one night, Carla checked the security footage just to be sure, and what she saw changed everything. There was my wife leaning over my bedside table, pouring something clear into my drink, not from a hospital bottle, not from a nurse's tray, from her purse. The next morning, toxicology reports confirmed it. Traces of ethylene glycol in my blood, antifreeze. Even after days in the hospital, it was still being introduced into my system. Someone was poisoning me, and that someone was my wife. When they confronted her, she denied everything. "That's ridiculous. I've been taking care of him." But the evidence piled up fast. Search history on her phone. How much antifreeze is lethal? Antifreeze symptoms. How to mask sweet taste. A small bottle found in her kitchen cabinet. My fingerprints on the cup, and hers too. Turns out, she'd been giving me small doses for months. Not enough to kill me, just enough to make me sick. She controlled everything. My meals, my medication, my appointments. And while I was in and out of hospitals, too weak to make decisions, she started presenting herself as the only one who truly cared. She managed all the finances, spoke to doctors on my behalf, got sympathy from extended family, even leveraged my condition to seek legal and charity-based support. To the outside world, she was a devoted wife, running the household and nursing her broken husband. To me, she was the reason I was dying. When they arrested her, she didn't cry, she didn't scream, she just stared at me and said, "You never appreciated me, Mark. You made me invisible." That's when I realized this wasn't about money. It wasn't even about revenge. It was about control. She wanted to be needed, to be seen. And if I had to be half dead for that to happen, so be it. Sick enough to rely on her, weak enough to stay, while she called the shots. The toxicology report sealed the case. She was charged with attempted murder. Even after her arrest, she refused to confess. Until the very end. In interrogation, she finally said, "I didn't mean to kill him. I just wanted him to stay." That line still haunts me because she almost got what she wanted. I survived, but with permanent kidney damage, lifelong medication, regular dialysis. Still, I got to walk out of that hospital alive. And now, every time someone offers me iced tea, I laugh and say, "No thanks. I stick to bottled water these days." After my wife tried to kill me with the homemade stuff, people ask me, "How did you not see it coming?" Truth is, love blinds you. You trust, you forgive, you ignore the signs. But sometimes the person who smiles at you across the dinner table is the same one slowly taking your life sip by sip. So, if something feels off, don't ignore it. I didn't listen to my gut until it was almost too late. Fade out.